Oh my goodness, what are you doing, Gearbox? More content for Borderlands 3 and I can't do it anymore. My social life is non-existent now. It is absolutely ridiculous. Booyah, baby, straight into the fucking meat and potatoes of this video because Gearbox have posted something brand new which is announcing the return of the Revenge of Cartels, but more importantly, I know I'm gonna catch some flack for that, but just hear me out here, the True Trials mini event, which is going from May 13th to the 1st of July. Let's get to Cartels later on, but first of all, let's talk about this event right here because I think it's going to bring a lot to Borderlands 3 and open a lot of doors as well. Gearbox say you've taken on all kinds of challenges in your time, Vault Hunter, but do you have the skills and endgame gear to beat the Guardian's True Trials? During the True Trials, a 6-week series of limited timed mini events, the final boss in one of the Proving Ground Trials encounter will receive massive buffs to their damage and health. We're talking health totals in the billions, akin to Hemovorus the Invincible, the raid boss introduced in Director's Cut. All of these challenges will lead up to the return of the fan favorite Revenge of the Cartels season event, which is on June 24th. So there we go. We finally have a release date for Revenge of the Cartels. You can stop asking me now. For the next 6 weeks, only one Proving Grounds trial per week will be selected to become a true trial, and only the most elite Vault Hunters should even think about taking it on. Without a top tier build and loot, it's going to get rough in there, so newer players may want to avoid whichever Proving Grounds trial has been selected for that week's mini event, as the boss buffs can't be deactivated for that weekly duration. However, should you prove victorious, your reward will be 2 legendary items handpicked by the Borderlands 3 development team. There are 2 possible pieces of gear each week, one from the base game and one from an add-on. In addition, the chest at the end of each week's True Trial will be full of legendaries regardless of how quickly you completed it or how many objectives you scored. The rewards will change each week, but one will always be from the base game's loot pool, while the other will be from one of Borderlands 3's 6 add-ons. Note that if you don't own a particular add-on, you won't be able to claim that piece of loot. We're going to talk about this in a second because this is absolutely massive. But let's again just quickly touch on that yes, Revenge of the Cartels is coming back on the 24th of June. But what's interesting is that they don't just call it the Revenge of the Cartels, they call it the Revengeance of the Revenge of the Cartels. Now, we don't have an end game for the event, and honestly, I think we all know by now that we'd like to see it stay permanently. But what's interesting again is the change in name here. I wonder if there's going to be a new set of enemies, new set of loot. Most likely, but we'll have to see when it comes back around on the 24th of June. And I know you guys probably want me to go crazy and fanboy over that, but I'm not. I'm really not. What I'm most excited for is this new limited timed event here. And why am I excited for it? Because it opens the door for more opportunities in the future. Now, mathletes, be ready to fact check me on this because I am by no means a scientist and I don't have every hotfix memorized from Borderlands 3. But to my knowledge, to date, there has been no source in Borderlands 3 from the base game which drops legendary gear from DLCs. So this is going to be a first of its kind within Borderlands 3. And why do I think this is a good idea? Well, simply put, I think this is a good idea because I feel like Gearbox have been very hesitant to do stuff like this in the past to avoid pissing off the people who, of course, don't own those expansions. And while I do agree with them that they want to keep it fair for everyone and not enforce this whole pay-to-win kind of meta, if you will, I do also think that at this point in the game's life cycle, when we compare it to a game like Destiny, which you basically can't play without the expansions, it is time to start slowly siphoning in some DLC gear into the mix. And we've also seen them do this with the Diamond Armory, so I guess this actually isn't the first time, but you get what I mean here. It's just nice to see Gearbox doing things which allow players who do own all of these expansions to have fun in areas of the game where they wouldn't usually be having fun, like the Proving Grounds. I think it's definitely necessary, and I also think making the Proving Grounds hard again, and actually, or I say hard again, but actually just hard period, and also making them worth farming is an extremely good thing. We've recently seen them doing this with the changes to the artifacts and the 4 gems, full legendary chests and whatnot. And I like this because if you remember, before launch in Borderlands 3, Gearbox were advertising that the Proving Grounds were going to be the next big thing. Yes, that's right. For those of you who don't remember, takedowns weren't originally pushed as the massive endgame content, because before takedowns were even a thing, Gearbox were hyping up the Proving Grounds, which was supposed to reward you with the most gear and give you the hardest fight. This was before we even have raid boss talk, this was before we had again takedown talk, but then when the game released, the Proving Grounds just weren't good. They offered no reward, they didn't give you any sense of satisfaction when you beat them, and most importantly, they were so easy. And while we won't see Gearbox make the Proving Grounds themselves hard, I'll talk about that in a second here, it is nice to see that the bosses in the Proving Grounds each week will be very hard. And what's interesting here is if you look at the post, Gearbox are keeping the rewards from each week a complete secret, so we don't even know what each week is going to drop. Apart from week 1 though, because week 1 here, it says that the first trial they are going to be super buffing for that final boss is the Trial of Survival. This one you can pick up in the Devil's Razor on Pandora, and the base game legendary the boss is going to drop will be the Lob. The add-on legendary is going to be the Lucky 7 from DLC 1. Of course, this gear is going to drop from the Skag of Survival at the end of it. I'm really worried to see how that's going to be, but I'm so incredibly hyped to finally be fighting like a boss Skag, which is going to feel like a raid boss. It's going to be pretty damn weird, but it's going to be refreshing just to, again, see what it's going to be like farming these bullet spongy bosses for some DLC gear. Now, back to what I said a minute ago about how Gearbox won't be able to make the actual trial hard, and the reason for that is something that understandably not a lot of people are going to know unless they're fucking delving into the files of Borderlands 3. But the TLDR is that the Proving Grounds enemies are the exact same enemies as the ones in base game, which means they run on the exact same scaling, which means if Gearbox wanted to make, for example, the Saurians in one of the trials have like 10 billion health, it would also make the base game Saurians on Eden 6 have like 10 billion health. So that's something that would have to be addressed with future patches and whatnot. Don't get your hopes up. I don't see that one coming for a very, very long time. In fact, the only time I've seen that been done is in Maliwan Takedown and Guardian Takedown, which is pretty unique. Oh, and also maybe Arms Race too. But I'm really hyped for this because not only are they bringing back the Cartels, and yes, I do love the Cartels, and I know a lot of people are going to bash me for not giving them enough praise for bringing back the Cartels. I just really like that they're doing another event. This one running for 6 weeks, which is actually going to make a piece of content in the game that barely anyone has been playing, make it just so rewarding, so fun. And maybe I could eat my words on this. It might come out and then everyone just hates it. I don't know. But I think it's really cool. I love that they're bringing more content to Borderlands 3, even so. And there's a bonus here. It's free content. You don't have to own any DLC to gain access to this. So if you're someone who's thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't play Borderlands 3 because I don't have any other DLC, now's a good time to jump in. Because even if you can't get them DLC drops from these trial bosses, what's really cool about this is that you can still fight them in their new raid boss form. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video today. Just wanted to have a quick rant about this. Gearbox, great job from the team all around. Please go and thank them on Twitter for this. It is just amazing to see this game constantly getting more content and just getting better and better every single week. This is just absolutely crazy. And of course, I'll have videos up on all of these new bosses when the events go live, so that goes without saying. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next one.